guys, so yesterday I had a video sharing all of the things, not all of the things, a lot of the things at least, that I like to see in books. And today I wanted to do the opposite video and talk about things I don't like to see in books. This is generally so you guys can help me, give me recommendations for books that you think I'll like based on the things I like and the things I don't. And also just a disclaimer, because I don't like something in a book, doesn't mean that's always the case. There are exceptions. Almost all of these have exceptions. I did this same video 2 years ago and I've left off some things from that video and added some things in because my reading taste has changed and I've realized a few more things about my reading. Yeah, so let's get into it. I have, I don't know, an unknown number of things here. I don't think I'm going to talk about them too long. I'm not usually going to give a bookish example. I often did in the things I like, but often if I just avoid these kind of books or I DNF them or whatever, so I don't have a lot of bookish examples. So the first thing I don't like in books that already has an exception is allegory. The one exception thus far being probably like the main, most well-known allegory is Pilgrim's Progress. I actually like that one. But every other allegory that I can think of that I've tried to read, I have not enjoyed. Actually, Pilgrim's Progress, but then there's also like the younger kid version. A Little Pilgrim's Progress is also really good. But other than that, not generally a huge fan of it. I do have more I would like to try, just in case, but for the most part, don't recommend allegory books to me. This one is definitely one I shared in my last video when I did this 2 years ago, and I don't know if this will ever change. That's lawyer stories. I generally don't like stories where lawyers are the main characters, and I'm thinking specifically in the like mystery suspense genre. I've actually read quite a few and I almost always don't like them. I think it's partly like the legal jargon and the whole, I actually can't even really think of it. I guess just the work ethic and all sorts of different things that play into it. I'm just not a huge fan. Insta love, another one that definitely I had last time. I'm more a the girl next door, slow burn, like that kind of friends to lovers, like that kind of thing. I'm not a big insta love person. I have read books where I've enjoyed the book and that has happened, but for the most part I like things to happen slowly. Another one I'm going to add in here is terrible marriages. I'm thinking, actually this makes me think of TV shows growing up the most, like Everybody Loves Raymond and According to Jim. Funny shows, but they were all about how couples don't communicate and they're always putting the men down and all this stuff. And I don't like it when those kind of themes are in books as well. If there is a marriage that needs to be worked on and that's part of it, that's okay. But if the marriage is just kind of like terrible all the way through, I really don't like that. And actually this makes me think of Middlemarch, which was pretty much just following characters who definitely married the wrong person and regretted it, and yeah, not a fan. Speaking of Middlemarch, this also falls under this category, and that is following people through their life or a very long period of time. There are exceptions. I mean, the Anne of Green Gables series, we follow Anne over a long period of time. I love it. Like, wanted to spend all the time with her. But many other ones, A Gentleman in Moscow, not my cup of tea. I'm definitely more plot driven than character driven. I don't know, actually. I say this and I kind of feel like I'm 50-50. Like I need both. I need to have good characters and I need to have a good plot. And if it's just hanging out with this person through their entire life, it's generally not my cup of tea. Especially if they're, there's exceptions as well. I wrote down like regular life and gossip. I generally like things more fast-paced. There are exceptions, once again, like Ellen Montgomery's books. There are a lot of just regular life and gossip. Jane Austen's, mostly not a fan of those. I don't know. I feel weird about her books. I don't really know where I stand. I don't hate them, well, with the exception of one, but I don't love them. And I feel like that's what, I know they're supposed to be satire, but she's still doing the thing that she is making fun of. Journey stories, unless the characters are amazing. Okay, so this definitely goes, like I need 50% characters, 50% plot, or like the one to be really good in order to pull me through. I'm thinking The Lord of the Rings here. That's very much a journey story. It takes a long time to go anywhere. But the characters in there, the friendship between Frodo and Sam and Legolas and Gimli, that helped pull it through. It's still not going to make my favorites list anytime soon, but it helped the book out. Aragon, on the other hand, was a journey story and the character felt really bland, and 2 years ago when I made this video, I said I plan on finishing the series and I never did. And I don't plan on it anymore. I got 1% into the audiobook for book 2 and was reminded how boring it was and quit. And then kind of playing off of what I've said, I need characters with personality. I especially like it if they have some spunk or creative interest or something going on. I'm against, I think, the majority here when I say that I find Robin Hobb's characters, and honestly her writing as well, but her characters to be so very bland and boring, and I have no interest in reading any more of her books. I've read some, tried some, I'm just done with her, and it's because everything just seems boring, but especially her characters. I know, minority. I know lots of people love Robin Hobb. Speaking of characters, they also have to be flawed in some way, because I know I am not perfect and I want to be able to read characters that I can like relate to a bit, and there are some genres and types of books that lean towards characters that are completely unflawed. There's actually one author in the Christian suspense world who I've not really liked any of her books, but I keep trying some, and her characters are always so perfect, and she just describes how perfect they are all the time, and I just can't relate to that, so not a fan. Books with too many characters, or characters with the same that start with the same letter. So this kind of goes back to how I read so many books. I have a video about tips on how I read as much as I do, but I remember clearly being a kid and learning to read at a fairly fast rate, and part of that is skimming over words I don't really know or character names. So I like characters to have names that start with different letters so that I can instantly recognize them. I have tried multiple times because I think I might enjoy the storyline for the book. Ooh, I forget what it's called. The Bear and the Nightingale? I'll put up the picture here because I'm not sure if that's the title. But everybody's name starts with a V. They're all Russian names that aren't familiar to me, and then they start with a V, and there's a lot of them. And as someone that skims, I don't instantly recognize which character is which. So I think I would like the storyline, but the naming has kind of ruined the book for me because I've started it at least twice, maybe 3 times, and haven't gotten very far solely because of that. And then if a book has just too many characters, then I can't keep it all straight. I know I could write a list. Somebody did say with, I'm pretty sure it's The Bear and the Nightingale, that they had a list of the character names. I could do that, absolutely. But I like reading books quickly, that like I like feeling like I'm jumping in and just devouring it. And so having to slow down and write the stuff down kind of takes me out of it a bit, and that's not what I would prefer to do. And so yeah, I'm not sure. So a book that I just recently got from a thrift store, The Joy Luck Club, I think I'm gonna have problems with that one because it sounds like there's mothers and daughters, and I think I'm just gonna get confused. Okay, kind of related, well, it's not really related, but The Terrible Marriages makes me think of this. That's any kind of book where miscommunication is the whole plot of the book. Usually. There's one book that I actually really enjoyed, Amanda Cox's book, The Secret Keeper of Old Depot Grocery. I liked the book, but honestly it was all a bunch of secrets, people keeping secrets, and the whole book could have been resolved much quicker and obviously wouldn't have made for the book. But I don't like it when characters are keeping secrets or not communicating, and then there's just misunderstandings, and there doesn't need to be. In my Things I Like video, I shared that I like plot twists and unpredictable endings, and so if a book is too predictable, if I can just read the back, which I mean sometimes they write too many spoilers, or just read the first few chapters and feel like I could tell you the entire plot. That's not what I like. I do like it sometimes when I think I know where it's gonna go and then it doesn't, because then that's very unpredictable. But there was one book that I tried for the I tried 9 Christmas books for a Patreon video, read the first chapter, and then rated them, ranked them in order. And the one, based on half of the blurb, I think, from the back of the book and the bit that I read from the book, I'm 99% sure I can tell you the ending of the book and be right. I didn't actually look it up, but you shouldn't be able to know how it's going to end. At least I don't want to. Maybe there are people that do, and then those books are for them, but I don't like to know. I also don't like too much teenage drama. I do like some books in the YA age group, like the whole coming of age thing. I like some, but I don't like them to be too angsty and too teenagey. And that's just like a personal, like I've got a line that at some point, sometimes it's just too much. Speaking of drama, I don't like book series that are never ending and it feels like a soap opera where people are just continually making the same mistakes in a slightly different way to continue the series to make more money. I think if you're a good writer and you can write a series, great, but there's a point where you gotta stop it and start a new series. I don't know, I mean there's some books, some series that I've started that I'm in the middle of that maybe will change this, but I don't know if I've ever read past book 5, with one exception that I can think of, in a series and still loved the other books. I feel like often it goes downhill. The exception would be the Anne of Green Gables series. Some books are better than others, but I still enjoyed all 8 of them. But usually it's just recycling the same ideas over and over again, especially if characters don't age. That can be bad. And the last thing I have here is survival stories, with the exception of like post-apocalyptic science fiction survival stories. But like wilderness survival stories, I don't know if I've read one that I've enjoyed. I guess they've mostly been middle grade, like Hatchet. Oh no, then there's like Robinson Crusoe, Swiss Family Robinson. I'm not a survival story person. Generally, if I hear those words, unless it's in the science fiction genre, I'm turned off by the whole storyline, and I don't know why. There's not really a specific reason why. I've never read any that I've enjoyed, so now I just stay away from them. Okay, so now taking what I've said today, the things I don't like in books, and taking the video from yesterday with the things I do like in books, can you guys give me some recommendations? Or even if you want to say like, oh, because you don't like this, I would say stay away from this book that maybe has been recommended to me a bunch. I would love to hear like both sides there. So thanks for being here, guys. I will be back again tomorrow with yet another Bookmas video.